Okay, this is the One Healer Tarot here on YouTube. I wanted to do a storyline reading. We have Spirit here. We have a young man. He didn't just die because I saw it go down my feed today, but he died in, let me see. Okay, September 22nd. 2000 in September. 2000, well, that's what is listed here, so I don't know exactly what date. So let's just flow. This is as far as DoorDash. Now, for those who don't know what DoorDash is, they are a delivery service of food. Okay, they come and deliver your food and things like that if you want it delivered to you, as far as like fast food and things like that, because we use DoorDash, my family and I. But this storyline right here is about a young man who murdered another young man. The food was delivered to the wrong home. And the young man who food it is, he came next door to get his food from the person where it was delivered to. So going off of what the readings is, the information on the internet is that the young man inside the house that accepted the man's food that didn't belong to him, he was looking out his peephole, or not, if not his peephole, some kind of way. He had a ring doorbell, so looking at his phone or whatever he did to see that the man was outside his door or knocking on his door. And it said that he saw the man with his hand like in his pocket, like he ready to grab something like a gun. So what he did was get his gun instead, right? And he shot the man. So I don't know what the man said at the door. I don't know if he just shot the man right off. I don't know if the man was fussing. I don't know if the man put his hand on him. I don't know all of that, right? But the thing is, it wasn't his food. And if he knew it wasn't his food, he should have told the man who he received it from, this is not my food, it's my neighbor's food. Anything like that. Or if he didn't know if his father was there or his relative was in a home, he should have hollered up to anybody in his house, did any of you order food? And if they said no, he should have just sit it outside of his door. And whoever food it is, they would have came and got it. That was the way to do it. Not to take somebody's food and knowing it's not your food. You already know that's your neighbor because the person lived next to you. You already know who it is. You already know it's your neighbor, right? So to grab guns and do all this shooting and all was unnecessary. Was uncalled for unless you just didn't get along. Because why is any of you grabbing guns? Evidently, you ain't get along with your neighbor didn't you, because he coming and putting his hand in his pocket or whatever was said on the internet, and you grabbing a gun. So you knew it wasn't yours, so you should have set it outside of your house, and the man would have came out and he would have saw it sitting there. Instead of him even knocking at your door, he would have just took his bag and went in. That happened to me more than one time where my food was delivered in different places. Up the street from me somewhere, at the last house up the street, around by the tree or whatever they said on the side, under the tree or something. I wasn't going out at night to go find it. Because at that time, I don't know what's put in it. I want my food put in my hand. I don't want something to be sitting outside somewhere, up the street somewhere. I don't know who put what in what. But I wasn't going up in the dark to find it. And then another time my food was delivered on the street over from me, the next street over. And those people took it in. Right? They took it in. They know they didn't order it, but the man reached it to them and they just took it in. Right? It might have been ordered by somebody in their house they didn't know, or they might knew it wasn't. I don't know. But they took it because he reached it to them. So you can call and say that you didn't receive your food. You can do that. So people can call if they don't get their food, right? And you can get a refund. I'm letting you know that. Instead of people fighting and shooting others and all of that, you can call and say, I didn't get my food, right? And they will give you a refund, or you can order again. They can send another one out to you because you didn't get your food. You don't have to shoot anybody, fight anybody over your food, because if you didn't get your food, you didn't get it. You can call about that. and say I didn't get my food. Simple as that. I really wouldn't want food that somebody put in their house anyway. I wouldn't even have wanted that food if I was that young man, because it was already in the hands of somebody else and you don't know what they could do to it. Get what I'm saying? Their germs or whatever. I wouldn't even want it. I would want a full refund off the bat. I didn't receive my food. Oh, we delivered it. No, not here you didn't. You know, you didn't get it. You didn't deliver it here. So that was a waste of a life over food that the other person know he didn't even order. And the other man going over, you know, and taking guns with him. So they might didn't get along anyway. Because, I mean, it wasn't no need for guns. If he was fine with his neighbor, he should have took the food and went and knocked on his neighbor's door and gave him his food. If he is so fine with his neighbor, he should have went over. Here, man, this came to my house. Did you order any food? Get what I'm saying? That's what he should have said. Not take it in, and then when somebody come for their food, he ready to grab a gun. No. He must didn't get along with his neighbor in the first place, and the neighbor didn't get along with him. Sound like they different races going off the names, so they already didn't get along or didn't talk to each other maybe. But I don't care if they didn't talk or not. He still could have knocked and gave the man his food or just left it outside his own door. The man would eventually came outside and saw it was in front of the other man's door and just took it, and they wouldn't even have to have any kind of communication together. So let's just see. Let me say the names. So we have, let me see the names of these young men because they was young. Okay, universe, what is the young man's name? Zaire, let me say it right, Zaire Zaire Cortell Watson, if I'm saying it right, 22, is charged with the murder, right, of, let me see the other young man's name. Why you don't hit a victim? Where's the victim's name? I really would like to say the young man's name. Let's just see if I can get the young man's name before I go on with the story. I don't want to just say him the whole time. He has a name. He was 20 and he was killed. Let me see. I still want to know his name, universe. What is this young man's name? I'm going to have to press something. Maybe it'll let me see his name. I want to see his actual name. They do all this writing and leave out important things sometimes. I think it's ridiculous. Okay, I see it's in Georgia. So what is the young man's name, universe? Okay. His name is Fernando Solomon, 20 years old. He placed the order with DoorDash, and it got delivered to the wrong house. And Mr.Watson, the other young man, Zaire, 22, he accepted the order. Yeah. It wasn't his. He should have called his father and asked his father, did you order? Not call his father because the man is at the door and for trouble. He could have said, Dad, did you order? And if his father said no, you know, just put the food outside and the man would have came and got his food. Simple as that. So let me just do a storyline reading because it don't seem like they got along in the first place. Sometimes race divides people. Can I just tell it like it is? Sometimes people they don't get along. They don't even meet each other. They don't even talk to each other, whatever it is. But guys got a way of being, period, if they even the same race. Get what I'm saying? Right, so let's just flow. Universe 11 jumping out. Yep, here's the door. Could have just opened the door and put that man food outside. Look at God. Look at God. Fear took him there. Whoa. Okay, fear took him there to pull the trigger. Okay, fear took him there. It's important that everybody know that Mr. Watson, fear took him there to pull the trigger and shoot, because it says he was hell-bent on destruction. Something was counseled 2 times, but time counted to him. So I don't know. He knocked at the door 2 times, the other young man, Mr. Solomon, or what? I don't know. He had plenty of ideas for his fortune, so he didn't have a fortune. So I'm going to go with he is going to eat the food, maybe. I don't know. Let's just flow, universe. Let's just flow. Stop. Okay. We're going to say stop. Okay. Okay, universe, you know all about it. The first card was fear took him there, Mr. Watson, to murder this young man, because it said on the internet that he saw the guy go in his pocket and it made him think it could have been like a gun on his ring cam, so he decided to get his gun from his father. He knew it was his neighbor. He knew his neighbor if the person lived next to him. But you know you got the person's food, so what are you getting guns for? Okay, unless they just didn't get along. That's what I'm saying. Because it's simple as opening the door, reaching the man his food. Follow me? So God says fear took him there. He is hell-bent on destruction, and that means the shooting is destruction. Time counted to him. Follow me? Maybe the man knocked 2 times. Or whatever he did. He had plenty of ideas for the fortune. So I'm going to say the fortune was the food. The good eating. Follow me? He needed to be, he needed to show some sensitiveness and softness. He needed to see this young man's, Mr. Solomon's, worth and see he is worthy of living. Follow me? Because he thought things was looking good for him now. Right? Getting that meal was a free meal because he knew it wasn't his. Did he really like the way that he was? Follow me? Because it says right here, it was some negative talk toward a leader, right? So I don't know who the leader was. He need to stop loafing around and change house. So I don't know, did they have a fuss at the door, Lord? Was he fussing at the door? Because it say negative talk from a leader. Unless his father was fussing with him in a house or some kind of way they had a fuss at that door. Get what I'm saying? Because we got to change house. That means Mr. Solomon needed to get away from Mr. Watson's house, or Mr. Solomon was fussing with somebody in his own house, or Mr. Watson was fussing with somebody in his own house. Somebody stop loafing around and change house. Take the food over to his house and put it in front of his door and knock and just go it on back home. Or he can talk and say, man, your food got delivered to my house by mistake. Or Mr. Solomon came over to his house and he needed to change house, stop loafing around, get his food and leave. Some kind of way they might have been fussing right there. Somebody. God says that he was educated, but he needed not be a fool because he was dealing with a jackal. Or one of them was, right? So we had right here something went to the extreme, and it did. Where one of them say, no way. Something went to the extreme. So we had somebody who gay, but that don't really matter. Follow me? Okay, so we had right here that he needed to change and change. He was going to change and chance it all because somebody looked at him as weak back anyway. Help was coming, but he had to stop thinking he deserved abuse. Silly in me to think that I could fool you. If he met the person gay, he can still do his God's mission. So I don't know. Okay, you are no better than nobody else if it was done to you. So we're going to go this way with, if it was, you know better than nobody else. If it was done to you, would you say that? So they might have been fussing at the door because if he didn't give, the wrong food was given away, you wouldn't want somebody to give your food to somebody. So Mr. Solomon here wanted his inheritance, his food. Get my drift with this card right now. This is his food. He need to get away from the idiot. Follow me? And take his power back. Follow me? Because it says in his surrounding it was talking. So it says right here, he's dealing with a Judas. And a Judas is somebody that, you know, They know whatever they know. You think you're all right with them somewhat or whatever, but you know they was neighbors. So he was a Judas, Mr. Watson here, because he was going to actually go and eat the man's food. Okay, so ducking wouldn't help. He was getting mad. What's his name? Mr. Solomon, because he wanted his food. Like I was back then when my food was missing, but I wasn't going to go around there to that address not knowing who lived there and fuss about food. But if they got my food inside, I don't even want it, because I don't want to spit inside no food I'm eating. Just call the police and tell them you want a refund because you didn't get your food. I'm telling this out to anybody, so you never do this. What happened here? Call and say you want a refund. You didn't receive your food, right? And they're going to give you a refund, or you can order again. Take it. However, I just said, do not go over and fight anybody over food, because he was good and hot, Mr. Solomon here, right? Ducking wouldn't help Mr. Watson over here. Follow me? So we have he's trying his best to escape. Follow me? I really want to express. He was trying his best to escape. So I feel like he wanted to try to figure out how to fix this thing while chilling, Mr. Watson, right? Because trying his best to escape, I want to express. Trying his best to escape, I feel like would be Mr. Watson still. I'm ready. No more. Because somebody said I'm ready. I guess Mr. Solomon coming over for his food. And some kind of talking happened with these people. It wasn't just nobody opened the door and shot. It was some kind of fuss or something at their door. No more. Didn't want to hear no more the person had to say or something like that. But he need to learn his lessons. The beam expresses spirituality. No growth comes from the same sex. Right? His choices is his own. One of them is a gay person. Okay, somebody want something to be. So this usually a card when a man want a woman or whatever. So I can put this just with the food for right now instead of a love relationship, because I don't know if these people, what any kind of relationship with these people, how they was as neighbors or whatever. Okay. Here's what you're going to do about it. So if they was, what you going to do about it? Mr. Solomon was going over there to do about it. He was going over there to get his food, what belonged to him. That's what he was going to do about it. But at the door, they might have been fussing, where one of them might have said, what you going to do about it? Get what I'm saying? Because this card really go with a love relationship. Somebody wants somebody to be strictly theirs. But I'm going to say Mr. Solomon wanted his food to be strictly his. He want his food. Follow me? Let's just leave it like that. Because it was all about his food. But Mr. Watson ended up here. And he not in his dream house no more. Get what the card saying. He's here. You know, all off of somebody else's food. I mean, really. Give the person his food back. I mean, he shouldn't even open it. He really should have came out and put it in front of the man's door. He should have, his neighbor, he should have put it right in front of his door. He didn't even have to talk to the man. He could have just put it in front of the door. If he don't talk to him at all, and they don't even talk, no kind of way, just put it in front of his door. He eventually come out, I guess, to get it. You know, there's ways to handle things. Okay, animalistic fussing, complaining, fighting. Okay, here we have right here, sexual tendencies. Okay, let's go. When people are man, think he the man, the big man. The other one think they the big man. Universe, you know all about it. You can call, I'm telling you. Ask for a refund if you don't get your food. It get delivered somewhere. You don't want some food somebody got in their house. You don't know what you don't want that spit been in your food. Why would you want that? I want my food to come directly from the place to me. I want it sealed and everything. I want the whole bag sealed. Because before, it used to be where did I get something from before? And I used to have a problem with that. Was it Chipotle? Was it Chipotle? You can tell if the seal, if it's been lifted up, you know, the container. But the bag wasn't shut. And I ain't like the bag wasn't, you know what I mean, sealed. Even though the container didn't look like it was tampered with, I just didn't like it was wide open for the driver to be able to go in your food. There's still somebody in between. So you got to seal whatever the bag is. And if you can, depending on whatever it is, depending on if you don't have a bag for whatever it is, whatever that main container needs to be sealed. It should not be cracked no kind of way going to the customer. Because they not right in front of you, so nah. Because you can be sued. Somebody wasn't all there. So I don't know. Let's see. I don't want to. I got to wait and see what's on this table. And then I'll see. Somebody wasn't all there. Not in their right mind. You know what that means. Something was upset. Could be not all there. Could mean just so upset. That could represent that. But let me just see what's on the table. I don't know if these people got along. It don't help when somebody don't get along and somebody got your food and you don't even get along with the person. Or it don't help if you're racist and somebody got your food. That don't help either. Because you carrying all of that nonsense with you. Or the person on the side, or the other person carrying it with them, however it's low. So I don't really know. Let's just say. But I'm telling any of you, if you're looking at me, that you don't have to go fight nobody over your order. Call the place and tell them you didn't get your food. So they can give you, is this the court card? No. So they can give you another a refund, or they can just, you can just order again. Simple as that. That man know who he gave the food to. He know that's the address you gave it to, not that address. Because a driver is just a driver, That all that other stuff supposed to be fixed already, but he's still supposed to know where he's going. Going to the wrong houses. He going to the wrong houses. It should come out of his pay, whoever the driver is. Or if it wasn't written down right on the slip, it's not the driver's fault. But if it was written down on the slip, the right address, it's his fault, giving it to the wrong house. But if it was written down wrong and they gave him the wrong address, it should go back to whoever, who made the mistake. Yeah. That's the first I ever heard of this, somebody dying because of their food going to the wrong house and stuff like that. I didn't heard of people getting the food and saying they ain't get it at these businesses and places. Oh, I ain't get my food. That's why I really like that they take pictures. Take pictures of, you can take pictures though, because I saw online an Amazon person or whoever it was took pictures of the packages, that they left the packages, but then they stole the packages. Get what I'm saying? So when he went back to whoever their boss is, they showed that they put the packages there, but they didn't have the camera on to show that they stole the packages and put them in their truck to keep. Get what I'm saying? So, yeah. Let's just flow. Okay, universe, this is about these two young men. Mr.Watson, Zaire Watson, and I don't want to say his name. I'm just going to say Mr. Solomon. I think it was Fernando, but I don't want to say his name. Whoa. So far, I don't see no racial cards or drug cards. I don't think so far. Let's just see. So, the only thing I see is gay so far. So I don't see nobody mind so screwed up. I don't see nothing of racial or as far as I can see so far, or drugs. I don't see it. Let me see. Okay. All right. This is a storyline reading for Mr. Watson. Mr. Watson, Zaire Watson, a 21-year-old young man who murdered a young man, Mr. Solomon, who was 20 years old last year. It say the writings on the internet is September 2022, but I don't know exactly the date unless I really look it up. But it's supposed to have been over a DoorDash order that was delivered to the wrong address. So he was going to get his food from the other person, and when he was going to get his food from the other person, you know, it turned ugly because Mr. Watson was looking at his door, his ring cam, and he saw that Mr. Solomon was going in his pocket or anything like that. So he called his father so he could get his gun. And that's what I heard so far as on the internet. So he shot him, but he had his food order in there when really he should have. Once he saw that it wasn't his food, his father didn't order any food, he should have took the food and put it in front of the young man's door. Because that means it's not yours, it's your neighbor's. He didn't even have to knock and talk to his neighbor. Just put it in front of his neighbor's door and leave it there and just come back in the house. Simple as that. It was easy for him to do that. He could have called his father, not as far as for a gun or whatever, but he should have called his father to say, is this your, did you order anything? His father could have said no, and that means take it over and put it in front of your neighbor's door. So they might have had problems with each other anyway. Because why wouldn't he just knock and say, man, your food came to my house? Get what I'm saying? Okay? So we got the first card, animalistic, a man. He was dealing with whichever one. I don't know which one this is yet. One of them. Either Mr. Solomon, because he coming for his food. So he might be the one that this goes with because he coming for his food. Usually when we come to somebody, we the aggressor. When we come, we are the aggressor when we come. Get what I'm saying? When we want to straighten somebody out, we the aggressor. So this would be Mr. Solomon. Animalistic, controlling, fighting, complaining, fussing, drunk. Strike that. That don't go with it. I'm so sorry. That don't go with it. Animalistic is fighting, controlling, dominating. Follow me. That's what this card means. So this was Mr. Solomon. Right? Because he coming to that door to get his stuff, right? Okay. So he didn't look at that Mr. Watson was worthy of having his food. And he was looking at the worth of his food. He didn't pay for his food. He wanted his food. He not worthy to have my food. I paid for my food. Get my drift. But also Mr. Watson didn't look at Mr. Solomon as being worthy to live because he shot him dead over his own food. Okay? Something needed to be done in decency, right? Because he thought it was laughable. Follow me? Maybe that he had Mr. Solomon's food or whatever, because Mr. Solomon wasn't laughing because he wanted his food. Follow me? So it ain't nothing for him to laugh about. You serious. You trying to get your food. So that's Mr. Watson that thought something was laughable, but he needed to do things in decency. Give this man his food. Okay? Letting off his sexual tendencies. But he need to have a clear mind. Follow me? So it says right here, honestly, God says. So we have, somebody was trying to insult somebody's intelligence. So when Mr. Solomon came over to get his food, maybe Mr. Watson said, it ain't over here. Because when you're trying to insult somebody's intelligence, that's what it's like to me. Man, what you talking about? I don't have your food. That's what he probably just said, something like that. Because Mr. Solomon looking at, oh no, my food is over here because I don't have it. Okay? Pricing something to butter somebody up. Here's Mr. The butter up means you trying to get on somebody's good side. How much it costs? How much it costs? Because really, he should have gave Mr. Solomon his food. right? Because this card means you giving somebody something to make them happy, to butter them up. You pricing something to butter them up, to give them a gift or whatever. He should have just gave them his food. So I feel it's on the other side. Maybe Mr. Watson saying, well, man, how much it costs? Mr. Solomon don't want to hear how much it costs. He want his food. Anything like that? So we hear somebody was not all there, one of them. And they're thinking, upset, or what was going on. And somebody was resistant. So maybe Mr. Watson was resistant to give Mr. Solomon his food. Maybe he's saying, man, how much it costs? Let me keep it. Anything like that maybe. Because he might have said right here with this card here that he ain't even have it. Trying to insult his intelligence. He knew you got his food. So we have right here that one of them needed to get more sleep to be more energetic. I don't know which one. Right? Probably Mr. Solomon. I don't know which one with that. Okay, somebody had empty thoughts while time was going by. Right? Let's just slow for a minute. So we have right here, no more. So I'm ready. So maybe maybe it was a fuss at the door. He trying to get his food from him, and he trying to constantly say maybe he didn't even have his food. He might have was telling him he didn't have it. And then after a while, he tried to just keep it period and want to give him money for it maybe. Man, how much you pay for it? Let me keep it. Anything like that? Okay, it says right here that he had to take his power back. Because he had to get away from the idiot. Because in this storyline, the idiot would have to be Mr. Watson. Because Mr. Watson is the one who causing all this chaos. And Mr. Solomon was trying to take his power back. He wanted his food. Okay, it was talking in their surroundings, talking. People, they looking at whose fault it is. Because that they all entangled in this stuff. But it says that he was isolated for a coping mechanism. Right now he is because he in jail. Okay. So he was chilling, trying to see how to fix this thing. So we had a box. So Mr. Solomon ended up in a box. That's the funeral parlor. But also Mr. Watson ended up in a box. And that is a jail cell. Follow me? Or whatever he ordered might have been in a box. I don't know. Or Mr. Watson felt like he was boxed in some kind of way. So he reacted because the card over here say fear took him there. Or Mr. What's his name? Mr. Solomon might have been acting like an idiot at the door. He might have been aggressive. I don't know what he was like. And maybe Mr. Watson wanted to take his power back. Anything like that. Where he felt like no more. No, I'm ready. No more. When really he should have just gave him his food. Because a lot of people will be upset or whatever when somebody trying to take advantage. Okay, it says he was running up his piece. Mr. Solomon at the door was running up Mr. Watson's piece. And he wanted him to get away from his house. Get out now. Because this is the God card, get out now. God wanted Mr. Solomon to get out now. Go back home. But this side is Mr. Watson. He felt like Mr. Solomon was running up his piece. Okay. It says that you're so smart. So Mr. Watson felt he was so smart. And it was well done. He got just free food. But we have right here that he might have thought Mr. Solomon was so smart. Like too smart. Too aggressive. Too forceful or whatever. Anything like that. And he might have thought well done himself because he put him in his place. Anything like that. Because it says something was counseled 2 times. Maybe a fuss between these 2 people. Him knocking at the door. Him asking them 2 times. Give me my food back. Or whatever it might have been. Something was 2 times. But time counted to Mr. Solomon. Because he wanted his food. And he shouldn't have to beg for his food. Okay, so it says right here that was something between these two, or fuss, or whatever it might have been, or just something else, or a trial, or court date, or whatever God's talking about right there. So it says right here, you can still do your God's mission if you like. So he can still do his God's mission. Can you still love me now? You know. So some kind of way, with this card right here, this is a gay card, really. But I can take it a whole nother way. But this is a gay card. Let's just hold for a minute. Can you still love me now? You know. So this goes with him, these two, because these two is the people who was fussing. Okay. Well, can Mr. Solomon, one of them wasn't straight, one of them. But let's just float for a minute. Can you like me even though that you know that I'm gay? Because some people have problems with people, you know, just because they're gay. So one of them. Let's float for a minute. Okay. We got trying his best to escape. So we got Mr. Watson trying his best to escape. That means trying to get away with stealing the food from Mr. Solomon. Or Mr. Solomon was trying to escape and get away after a while when that gun was drawn. I don't know. Where was he shot? In the chest, in the back? I don't know. Okay. I really want to express me. So we got whichever he wanted to express him. So I still feel it's Mr. Watson. Because Mr. Solomon is just at the door trying to get his food. Follow me, I feel. Okay, we're making a pocket pull at the fairground. That would be work. So Mr. Solomon making money at work, trying to get a pocket pull. So we got the undercover gay right here. This is when it's hidden. Okay, so we have homosexual relationships have abuse too. Follow me. So we have one of them was hell bent on destruction. So we got Mr. Solomon at the door trying to get his food. So that means he's going to be a little boisterous or however powerful or whatever, because he's trying to get what belonged to him. Then we got the other person on the other end going to get upset and all because they trying to get away with taking from you. Okay, so we have right here that your choices are your own, but no growth come from the same sex. So we got one of these men was gay because we had them back to back. So let's flow. Okay, we have right here Mr. Solomon was good and hot. And ducking wouldn't help Mr. Watson because Mr. Solomon know he had his food. But then we can turn around and say Mr. Watson was good and hot at one point, right? And ducking wouldn't help Mr. Solomon. So some kind of fuss was at the door. Now one of them was gay, but could the other one still like the person as far as a neighbor or whatever because the person was gay, right? One of them is, right? Okay, so it says right here that you're no better than nobody else. If it was done to you, would you like it? And the only thing was done was Mr. Solomon's food was stolen. So this would be Mr. Solomon. If it was done to you, Mr. Watson, would you like somebody stealing your food? You know better than nobody else. I want my food from you. It don't matter if you're my neighbor or whoever you are. It was time for Mr. Solomon to act, and he acted, and he went over to get his food. So we can survive. So he might need his food for his family, himself, or period. Or if Mr. Watson would have just gave him his food, both of them would have survived. Get what the card's saying. So it says right here that Mr. Watson needed to learn all the lessons needed to express his spirituality. Because he the one needed to learn a lesson here because he's trying to hold on to somebody's food that's not his own. Okay, we got the lecture. Could be a job, the court trial, or anything this could be. Follow me? Or this could just be him talking at the door, fussing at the door. He filled a lecture. Don't fussing or whatever. Or it could be court, trial, orientation, or whatever this is. Follow me? Okay. Somebody need to filter their ways and stop tearing the other one's emotions down. So the one at the door might have been tearing on a person inside emotions down because he wanted his food. Get what I'm saying? Because he's trying to get what he's trying to get. His food, what belonged to him. Something happened over a weekend. Follow me? Some kind of way that one of them saw some kind of way, right? You seen it and he or she seen it too. Something happened over the weekend. With one of these people. one of them and the other one saw. Okay, we got Mr. Solomon was educated. I gotta put it with Mr. Solomon right here, because Mr. Watson would be the jackal on here. Why? Because he's stealing somebody's food, not giving a man his food, and gonna kill a man behind it. Okay, so I'm gonna say Mr. Solomon was educated, but God didn't want him to be a fool because he was dealing with a jackal. Wait a minute, let me pause for a minute. Okay, let's just see. Where was he? Okay. Mr. Solomon needed sensitiveness and softness, right? As far as just trying to get his food. But then Mr. Watson wanted that from Mr. Solomon, but he wasn't trying to give his food to him. So be it. Mr. Watson gonna be dealing with some kind of counselor, lawyer, or anything like that, or he did. Or maybe Mr. Solomon was coming over and he was like advisor, like advising him. I want my food, give me my food, or else, or whatever he might have said. I just don't know. He might have been like the advisor, talking, advising. Follow me? Or else, or whatever he might have said. Could have been a threat in there, because his advice. Follow me? So it says right here, if you met the person gay, you know, you can still do your God's mission. So in me to think that I could fool you. So one of these men is gay, but still could do the God's mission, whatever the God's mission is. Okay, somebody do plenty of good, but you can't hold a person up in their wrong. So Mr. Watson do plenty of good, I guess, whatever good he do, but he can't be held up in his wrong. And he wrong for not, you might call it stealing Mr. Solomon's food and not wanting to give it back. Because Mr. Solomon wanted his food to be strictly his, follow me? He might have said, Mr. Watson, what you gonna do about it? Because it wouldn't be Mr. Solomon, it would be Mr. Watson. What you gonna do about it? Because Mr. Solomon want his food to be strictly his. He want his food. And here's Mr. Watson. What you gonna do about it? Because he ain't giving a man food up. If not that, with this card, this is a love card. It could be where he liked his neighbor, because we dealing with somebody who gay right here, and that would be the one, Mr. Watson, I feel. If it's not him, it's the other one, but I really think it's the one who did the shooting. I really feel it's him. And he might have had a crush on this guy right here. Want to be strictly his. Can I just tell it like it is? Because this is what this card really means, but I'm just twisting it with the food right now. What you gonna do about it? Okay, accusations, bills, complaints, or whatever was stacking up where he was getting unhinged, upset. Mr. Solomon. And then Mr. What's his name? And then Mr. Watson after a while. So we have, he was dealing with a leader. Mr. Solomon was a leader of some kind, maybe. And maybe was talking negative talk at the door to Mr. Watson. Maybe he's some kind of leader. I don't know what kind of job he got. Or maybe Mr. Watson was dealing with a leader, his father. Maybe his father talked negative to him, anything like that. But I'm still going to stick with Mr. Solomon at the door. Maybe he is a leader and he talked negative talk. Something went to the extreme at that door where maybe Mr. Watson said no way, no more. Because he the one did the shooting. So let's just flow which one. He is going to change and chance it all because he might felt like Mr. Solomon looked at Mr. Watson as weak back. So he's going to change and chance it all and show him he wasn't. He had plenty of ideas for the fortune, so we got to make the fortune the food. Get what I'm saying? He had plenty of ideas for their food, and that means they eat it. Get what I'm saying? But maybe Mr. Solomon had plenty of ideas for his fortune, the money he was making, because it says he was trying to make a pocketful at the campground, and that would be his job. He needed to get more sleep because maybe he worked a lot. Anything like that. He was educated, and God didn't want him to be a fool because he was dealing with a jackal, and that would be, the jackal would be Mr. Watson at that door, hell-bent on destruction, because he should have gave the man his food. But Mr. Solomon could have been hell-bent on destruction at the door because he come in with aggression when he go approach people. He had to stop thinking he deserved abuse, and that would be Mr. Watson, I feel. Because help was coming. Because maybe he felt like Mr. Solomon looked at him as weak back, like he was weak or something. Or we have Mr. Solomon need to stop feeling like he deserved abuse. His food being taken by Mr. Watson here. And fussing and everything, but help was coming. Okay, do you really like the way you are? So do Mr. Watson like the way he was? Because the way he was wasn't good. I think it's okay to steal somebody's food and then got a nerve to shoot them behind it. And don't expect them to be angry. He thought things were starting to look good now because he got him some free food. He knew it wasn't his. And that's right now, it caught some kind of way things starting to look good for him. Okay, so we got a female. If not a female, we just going to make this a man. Okay. Somebody astonished she did it. So he astonished she did it. Whoever she is, Mr. Watson is astonished the female did something, or Mr. Solomon. So I'm going to take this with one of them is gay, so I'm going to put it with the other was astonished that the other one did it. Stole the food or shot the other, one or the other. But we had Mr. Solomon needed to stop loafing around and change house and get from in front of Mr. Watson's door. Or Mr. Watson needed to change house, stop loafing around, and come from out of his house with that bag of food and put it in front of Mr. Solomon's door and then come back home. One or the other would have solved it. It's a lack of love for Mr. Solomon. My channel was about the victims. That was the last time for a lack of love. So for Mr. Watson, I don't know if they got in fusses before or whatever. It was the last time for a lack of love. So he felt like if they was fussing at the door or whatever, Mr. Solomon looked at him as weak back and he fussed before or whatever, he felt like that day, this is the last time you're going to talk to me like this or whatever, because he thought he was weak back. And that was the last time. And he made it the last time. Or it was the last time for the lack of love for Mr. Solomon as far as Mr. Watson. Am I saying it right? I hope I'm saying it right. Watson, right? Because he showed a lack of love, and it was the last time when he shot him and killed him. But then if Mr. Solomon usually fuss with him or disrespects him or whatever, that was the last time for him to show that to him. But then he felt like that was the last time for him too. So let's just flow, because Mr. Solomon wanted his inheritance, his money. I mean his food, I'm sorry. Because that's what they was fussing about, food. Because this is any kind of property or money. So his property was his food. Follow me? Because that's what it was lack of love. Give him his food. God wanted him to get from in front of that door and go back home. He astonished that he did it, that he stole his food. That's Mr. Solomon. He astonished that he stole his food. Follow me? That Mr. Watson stole his food. But God wanted Mr. Solomon to get from in front of that house and go home. Last time for the lack of love, he wanted his what belonged to him, his food. But then Mr. Watson, he astonished that Mr. Solomon came over to his house, and if he had a gun or whatever he had, he astonished that he did whatever it is, maybe something over the weekend, because it says something happened over the weekend, whatever it was, and he might be astonished something Mr. Solomon did over the weekend that he saw. But still, God wanted Mr. Watson to change house, come out of your house with the bag of food, go take it, put it in front of Mr. Solomon's door, then come back to your own house. Knock if you want it or don't knock. That could have solved it. It was a lack of love. He felt like if Mr. Solomon did some disrespect to him over the weekend, any kind of way, he felt it was a lack of love, so he wasn't going to take it no more for Mr. Solomon. Get what I'm saying? That was the last time he was going to not even deal with that no more out of him. So we have right here, or if Mr. Solomon owed him any kind of money, he wanted his money from Mr. Solomon. Follow me? If he owed any money, follow me? But Mr. Solomon came over because Mr. Solomon was owed his food. Follow me? So how it's going. But this next card is fear took Mr. Watson there to murder Mr. Solomon. The fear would be if he really thought he had a gun and he was going to pull a gun once he opened the door. Fear took him there to pull his own gun. Get what I'm saying? Hold on to that thought, everybody. That fear took him there. And when fear takes you there, you desperate. You feel you got to do something. And you desperate. Okay, we got the next one. He in his dream house, wherever he lived at. And Mr. Solomon was in his dream job or whatever, right? But we have right here that Mr. Watson is going to jail, but he already in jail. He wanted love. And he might have wanted love from Mr. Solomon. He might wanted him to care and be nice or whatever. Or it says that it's gay right here. No girl come from the same sex. Might have had a crush. You know what I'm saying? That ain't a bad thing. Follow me? So it says right here, he is a wonderful conqueror. Right? This guy that can't go with him. This got to go with the victim here. This got to go with the victim. Mr. Watson wanted the love here. Follow me? He might have been being disrespected by Mr. Solomon over the weekend or whenever, and that was the last time at his front door fussing, and he wasn't going to take it no more because he wanted him to be nice to him or whatever. But this is a love card when you want love, but you need to first love yourself before anybody else can love you. This card is Mr. Solomon's card. He was a wonderful conqueror, God says, right? But he is dealing with a Judas, and the Judas would be Mr. Watson. Follow me? Because Mr. Watson was the Judas. Or he felt Mr. Solomon was the Judas because he did something to him over the weekend. I just don't know what happened, right? But he was a wonderful conqueror. Because he was a wonderful, he did feel like he was the conqueror because he felt like he had the last say because he murdered this young man. See, he was the conqueror. Get what the card's saying. He was the conqueror because he felt like he was dealing with a Judas. So maybe something happened over the weekend, whatever it was that happened that he saw, that hurt him, that he was part of, or whatever. And he feel Mr. Solomon was a Judas, went against him, set something up or whatever, anything like that. Get what I'm saying? And he felt at that door, this is the last time for a lack of love. You ain't doing this to me no more, or whatever, anything like that. Follow me? But also, Mr. Solomon was a conqueror. And he was dealing with a Judas. And the Judas would be Mr. Watson stealing his food. Somebody he might thought he was okay with, or somebody who he might have thought was a good neighbor or whatever, but he not. He's stealing his food. He know it's not his food. But when it's all over with, hats off to you going down Benefit Alley. This is a good card. But we got to put this with him receiving the food. Hats off to you going down Benefit Alley. He felt good. I got some free food. He got some free food. Hats off to you. You going down Benefit Alley. He felt like, oh, I'm going to do some good eating tonight. I'm trying to use another phrase. But for Mr. Solomon, hats off to you going down Benefit Alley. Mr. Solomon was some kind of working man, whoever he was, right here, that was trying to have his fortune to make something happen, whatever he's trying to make happen, seemed like, whatever it was, getting a pocket full at work, but he needed more sleep, it says right here. He is educated, but he need not be a fool. So on both sides, some kind of way they did whatever they did. I don't see no drugs, no kind of way. I don't see drugs or drinking. No drugs, no drinking. So nobody was drunk or drugged up. Nobody. I don't see no drug cards or drinking cards in the storyline. Somebody thought it was laughable, but needed to do things in decency. So something happened on the weekend some kind of way. Whatever it was that the other one saw, or somebody else saw, or whatever, that wasn't good. So I'm saying, if your neighbor, you got your neighbor's food, just give your neighbor's food. What's all the big deal about at the door? It's not yours. So I said, that's why I said it had to be something. I said it had to be racial, or it has to be something, because why did it turn into stuff like this? It shouldn't have turned into all of this. Really, it shouldn't have. It really shouldn't have went this far. So it's something else that went with it. That's why it went this far. Something that happened over the weekend. And then, yeah. Or he liked them. Or something might have happened with him and that person over the weekend. Who knows? And he might have went and told or something. I don't know. But anyway, however it's flowing, you know, it shouldn't have went the way it went. So it's looking like it's just the food, but really, they had something else going on. You know, over the weekend, some kind of way something happened. Whatever it was that happened, I don't see no drug cards, so it wasn't no drug deal or nothing like that. Only thing I see is homosexual cards. See what I'm saying? So it was more than just the food. That was like the main thing you keep hearing, but it's something else right there under the radar. You know how things be up there. The DoorDash up there. He stole my food, but no, it's something else. And what it is something happened over the weekend. These two was having problems already. Whatever it was, something happened over the weekend. Okay, we got the man who gay. He might like the other one. Something might have happened with the other one. And then he might have told somebody, or something might have happened, or whatever. You know how Judas is. Judas is you know what a Judas is? You think somebody all right with you and then they not, or whatever happening. Yeah, so yeah, something. I don't see no drugs. Nobody selling no drugs. Nobody drinking. Get what I'm saying? It's nothing like that. The only thing I see is the homosexual cards and the sex cards. No growth come from the same sex. That means 2 men or 2 women. Get what I'm saying? So it was more than just some food going to the wrong house. That's what's on the surface. But they had whatever going on with them as far as their relationship, getting along or whatever. Period. Getting along with each other. They had nothing to do with that food. That was just the last straw. Get what I'm saying? Or that's what made it where it broke the camel's back. Get what I'm saying? The last time for a lack of love. Yeah. You grabbing your gun for? What you grabbing a gun for? Because you got the wrong house with food. Come on. Nah. More than that. And God's showing us more than that. Fear took him there. Right? Because if he figured on the man pulling out his gun, and when he opened that door, that the man might shoot him, so he calling to get his gun. Because something happened over the weekend, whatever it was. I just don't know. That's all I know is, you know, is gay, he gay. I know that much. One of them is. I really feel it's the shooter, but if it's not, it's the other man. I really think it's a shooter though. Right? So somebody, you know, want the other one to be strictly theirs. If not that, he wanted his food to be strictly his. I can turn the card around. He wanted his food to be strictly his. And the other one saying, what you going to do about it? That means you got to tussle and fight at the door or whatever. Because it was confusion at that door now. It wasn't where he just shot him out of nowhere. Oh, no, there was some kind of fuss was going on. Fighting or something at that door. So you don't know all of that extra because only the news just say, oh, it went to the wrong house. The man just shot the person. They had more stuff going on than that between these two people. I don't see no drugs or drinking. That's a good thing. So they had clear minds, both of these people. So this the brass loved one, but fear took him there. That maybe he thought the man was going to shoot him. He really thought the man was going to shoot him, maybe. Because, if it's true, he's digging, maybe he was digging for a gun. But you ain't digging for a gun just because of no food. You shouldn't be digging to shoot your neighbor because of they got your food. You only would be digging if you got a problem with that person inside their house for some reason. So you're going to get your gun. So you might have to go left with whoever it is. So that's when you would reach for your gun. Your regular neighbor you get along with, you're not going to be reaching for no gun with. Or for. Somebody who you feel is a Judas now that did you wrong. Or you feel that person did you wrong. So they had that other stuff going on. Whatever that stuff was. Whatever something that happened over the weekend or whatever. And then it just went on however it went. Or whatever's going on here. But he in jail. And he got to go to jail because you can't just take somebody's life because fear took you there. You was afraid about something or afraid the person going to tell or whatever's going on here. So it wasn't just over no food. He didn't kill him over no food. That was more than food. It was whatever else that was going on with these two people. Whatever it was not food. But he definitely was going to keep his food. But what you gonna do about it? I want you to be strictly mine. Get what I'm saying? That's what my card mean. I can turn it around to he wanted the food to be strictly his. Get what I'm saying? So yeah, I didn't see the secret card or anything like that. But he wanted to be the conqueror, and he wound up being the conqueror. The last card when he shot him. Yeah, and that's the bottom line. Okay, this the brass love one. Healer Tarot here on YouTube. You don't have to take nothing I say as fact, but I believe every card that God put on the table as fact. You don't have to take nothing as fact that I say. You don't have to believe nothing that I said out my mouth or any cards. But I believe everything God put on the table as fact. I do. This the brass love one.